Welcome to the Everglades.
In March of 2025, we set out on a 7-day road trip through the wild and beautiful landscapes of southern Florida. From snorkeling the reefs of Biscayne to exploring the vast Everglades and Big Cypress swamps, and finally relaxing on the beaches of Sanibel Island, this journey was packed with unforgettable moments. Come along as we explore the nature, wildlife, and beauty of this unique corner of Florida. Our journey begins with 2 days in Biscayne National Park. Biscayne National Park is located in southern Florida, just off the coast of Miami. The park is over 170,000 acres and is 95% water, which kind of makes it the water park of the national park system. So to properly experience this park, we'll need to do water activities like snorkeling, kayaking, and boat tours. On our very first day, we had reservations to do the Snorkel and Island Visit tour through the Biscayne National Park Institute. They're an official nonprofit partner of the park, and they offer a bunch of different experiences to help you explore the park by water. The Snorkel and Island Visit tour is a 6-hour tour which includes snorkeling at 2 different spots, which could be coral reefs, mangroves, or even shipwrecks, plus a visit to one of the park's remote islands. It's $209 per person, and each tour is super small, with a maximum of 6 guests, so it feels really personal and never crowded. This tour does not leave from the main visitor center like you might expect. Instead, it departs from Dinner Key Marina in Coconut Grove, right next to the Miami City Hall, which has a fun bit of history itself. It was actually built as a seaplane base and terminal back in the day. Oh, and in true Miami fashion, there are chickens casually strutting around the marina, because of course there are.
Run, 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 run. Why are you crossing the road?
After we checked in, we met our captain Jess, who was super friendly and knowledgeable. Once we got geared up, we boarded the boat and headed out, passing some seriously jaw-dropping yachts and getting an incredible view of the Miami skyline from the water. As we cruised along, we passed Key Biscayne and caught a glimpse of the Cape Florida lighthouse, which was built all the way back in 1825. This lighthouse also has some interesting history. It was a part of the Saltwater Underground Railroad, a secret route that enslaved people once used to escape to freedom in the Bahamas. As we continued cruising, we passed by one of the most unique sights in the park, Stiltsville. This is a quirky little collection of wooden houses built on stilts, sitting right above the water in the middle of Biscayne Bay. The whole thing started back in the 1930s when a guy nicknamed Crawfish Eddie built the very first shack out there. It was originally just a bait and tackle shop, but before long, more buildings popped up and things got a little wild. During its peak in the 1960s, there were 27 structures, and the area became known for illegal gambling, bootleg alcohol, and prostitution. But over the years, hurricanes and storms, especially Hurricane Andrew in 1992, destroyed most of them. Now, only 7 of these buildings are still standing, and they're protected as part of the national park. Floating past them felt almost surreal, like stumbling across a ghost town at sea.
Hold on, let me pause. Commercial break. The white bird that you're seeing there is called a great blue heron whiteface. And so the great blue heron whiteface is a subspecies of the blue heron that have morphed its feathers to work better with the heat of Miami. If you're a birder, there's people who travel around the world to do that. That's a life bird right there. And we get to see them all the time. I see them on a daily. Okay, so if you got birders in your family, take a picture of it, show it to them, and be like, hey, look what I saw. they're gonna wish that they could add it to their life list. So this is a really cool area to look for cushion stars. Starfish is usually what people think of them as, but they've been reclassified as sea stars because there's nothing to do with fish. And so calling them starfish is wrong, so they're called sea stars. And there's one kind called the cushion star, and we can see it here. So if you want to just like stick your head over the side, I'm not really going to show you how far.
There's another one.
Around noon, we pulled up to our very first snorkel stop, Base Shoal, part of the massive Florida coral reef, which is actually the third largest reef in the world. It's located about 5 miles off the coast of Miami, and what makes this spot especially great is that the water is super shallow, usually under 15 feet. So even if you're not an expert snorkeler, it's really easy to navigate.
You can see the visibility is quite incredible. You can actually see stuff. Right now it's just a little wavy, but this is wind wave. It's not current. Hey, good job!
The moment we jumped in, we were surrounded by a kaleidoscope of color. We spotted vibrant coral formations and schools of colorful tropical fish. We spotted some parrotfish, rays, crabs, barracudas, and tons of beautiful fish. The reef was full of movement and color, and the visibility was amazing. What really stood out was how the coral rose dramatically from the seafloor, forming these ridges and ledges. We learned that Botch Shoal is home to several types of coral, including sea fan coral, grain coral, and star coral. And some of these coral species are thousands of years old, since coral grows slowly, similar to the rate of your fingernails. We had about an hour to explore the reef, but I could have stayed there all day. It was our first time snorkeling in the open ocean. All you see is just water all around everywhere you look. So that was fun and a little unnerving to experience being in the water without any land in sight. There are shipwrecks located along the very edge of the park, among other parts of the reef that you can explore. However, you do need to have ideal weather and sea conditions to see those. Your captain will make the decision to go see those or not based on the conditions for the day. During our visit, Captain Jess mentioned that the conditions were good, but not quite ideal enough to go see those. But we really enjoyed the areas that we did get to see. After soaking in the reef, we headed to a completely different kind of ecosystem, the red mangroves along Sands Key. These tangled root systems might not look like much from above, but underneath, it's a whole other world. As our tour guide put it, if the coral reefs are Finding Nemo and Disney, the mangroves are Tim Burton. The mangroves act like a nursery for sea life, and this area was teeming with juvenile fish darting in and out of the roots like it was an underwater playground. And an underrated part of the area is all the seagrass. You can actually see all the bubbles forming on the edges of the grass, creating brand new air to breathe. We snorkeled through the calm, shallow water for another hour, just slowly drifting and taking it all in. It felt peaceful and almost secret, like we'd stumbled into a quiet little corner of nature that most people never get to see. Our final stop of the day was Boca Chica Key, and even though we were already blown away by the reefs and mangroves, this place was the perfect way to wrap up the tour. The island is home to its own 65-foot lighthouse, which is kind of the star of the show. It was actually under renovation during our visit, so we couldn't go to the top, but even from the ground, it's still super photogenic. Back in the day, the island was owned by Mark Honeywell, the guy who founded Honeywell Thermostats. He built the lighthouse in the 1930s, but unfortunately, he put it on the wrong side of the island. Because of that, he wasn't able to turn it on since it would confuse boaters. So this lighthouse is purely ornamental.
I'm glad to get out of the water because it was cold, but it was really beautiful. Like the snorkeling and the reef was incredible. We really hope the footage comes out from that. And like snorkeling through the mangroves was also really cool. So
Yeah, we're doing this trail now.
yeah, so now we're doing this trail on this key.
There is a short quarter-mile loop trail that wraps around the shoreline of the key. The start is marked by the stone wall that Honeywell's wife built. It was meant to separate nature from society. This trail is a nice, easy trail, and along the way, you'll see hermit crab holes, beautiful ocean views, and of course, at the end of the trail leads to a 4-car garage. Yep, there is a garage on this tiny island. Honeywell had this 4-car garage built on the island in order to show off his Model Ts to his friends. However, one of Honeywell's friends would one-up him by bringing his pet elephant Rosie to the island. Rosie the elephant was trained to take photos with guests and would stay in the garage during her visits. Today, Boca Chica Key is still a party island and a hot spot for boaters, and honestly, once you're there, it's pretty easy to see why. The water is beautiful and the whole place just feels like the slice of paradise tucked away from the world. Also, if you do this trip, be sure to bring your own lunch because it's not provided on the tour. We sat by the water and ate our sandwiches before heading back to the real world. Overall, we really enjoyed this tour and it ended up being the highlight of our trip. It's definitely worth the price for an amazing all-day adventure. After our boat tour, it was time to check into our hotel. We made our home base at the Hilton Home 2 Suites located in Homestead, Florida. We'll leave a link for all of our hotels and Airbnbs that we stayed at during our road trip in the video description below. So we're here at the Home 2 Suites in Florida City and we finally made it to the hotel and it's actually pretty good. We have a king-size suite here that has a small little kitchenette on the other side so we can make some dinners in the hotel room after all of the hiking throughout the day. We also have like a nice little, I think this is a pull-out couch, and then a cute little kitchenette here. So nice microwave, and also have a dishwasher and a full-size fridge. So we brought a lot of things in a cooler with us to make like sandwiches and things, so we'll probably put those together before we go on our hikes when we head to the Everglades. But this is going to be our home base for the next 3 to 4 days as we explore Biscayne National Park and the Everglades. So excited to share it with you. Day 2 was a little bit more laid back, but still amazing. This time, we swapped out the snorkeling gear for paddles and signed up for the Kayak the Mangroves tour, also run by the same company as the snorkel tour, the Biscayne National Park Institute. This tour is much shorter, only about an hour and a half, and way more budget friendly at just $39 per person. Unlike the snorkel tour, this one does leave from the Dante Fassel Visitor Center, which gave us a chance to finally get our photo with the Biscayne National Park entrance sign. If you look closely, the sign actually has these really cool 3D reliefs of coral and a fish formed onto it, which is a really nice touch. It's totally free to enter the park. Most people visit by boat, so there's no charge for land access, parking, or the visitor center. Just another reason why it's such a hidden gem. We checked in at the gift shop and then headed downstairs to the meeting spot for the tour. There were 8 people in our group, and while most folks were doing double kayaks, we ended up with the 2 single kayaks since one of the doubles wasn't in the best shape. Our tour kicked off with a semi-guided format, which means that the naturalist guide leads you for the first 30 minutes, and then lets you paddle around and explore on your own for the rest of the time. We started off by paddling into the first mangrove tunnel, where our guide taught us about the wildlife, the role mangroves play in the ecosystem, and just how important they are to protecting coastlines and the sea life.
There's one right there. Just spotted him. He's going up that branch.
Whoa!
The one that you're holding on to, the second one.
Yeah, I see him.
They're hard to spot, but once you know how to spot them,
Yeah.
they're easy. You know usually where they hang out. They usually hang out within the joints of the trees. Very different to the traditional national park. We don't really have the geological formations that are usually associated with some of these national parks, more recognizable ones. That's not really the reason we're a national park. It's not so much landscapes or anything like that, or beauty. Although our park is very beautiful, especially when you get a nice calm day like this. It's mostly because of our biodiversity that we became a national park. Actually, a lot of the people that signed this into a monument, all the people together, Lyndon B. Johnson was actually the president who signed this into a monument. He was an avid fisherman, and a lot of them just wanted to see all the fish here and all the wildlife within the water preserved for later generations to be able to fish. And it's pretty much like a big playground for all these people, and that's actually why you could still fish in here. You could spearfish. You can't lobster within the bay, you can lobster outside of the bay, but a lot of the regulations that most national parks have don't apply here. The biggest reason we're a national park is, like I said, the wildlife. We have a lot of biodiversity here. 70% are usually juvenile fish. They're all baby fish starting their life. You can kind of think of this whole environment as a big fish nursery.
After that, we were free to roam. Most of the group headed right back into the big tunnel, so we decided to take the opposite route and loop around the nearby islands first, hoping to catch the tunnel later when it wasn't so busy. So it looks like we're making it out to the second island here, and the water is so clear. It's a beautiful day. Ooh, okay. We just made it to the second island, which he said was really cool. So all of this limestone that you're seeing here is ancient coral that the mangrove roots just kind of dig into that limestone. So they are fully rooted into the rock, which is cool. We learned that yesterday during our tour. Look at how cool that looks. Whoa. So it looks like there's some kind of mound over here. I wonder if that's one of those ancient shell mounds. I love all the different colors of the limestone. That's amazing. When we circled back, there were still groups exploring the big tunnel, so we went a little further down the coastline into the smaller tunnel to hopefully get it to ourselves for a bit. This did end up being our one big regret. If we had to do it over again, we would have just waited to explore the larger tunnel before heading down to the smaller one. And as a result, we didn't have enough time to go back and see it. But the one tunnel that we did see was pretty awesome. After kayaking, we spent some time inside the Dante Faso Visitor Center, which is definitely worth a visit if you're in the area. We picked up some of our usual national park souvenirs, grabbed our passport stamps, and checked out all of the interactive exhibits inside. There's a ton of information about the marine life, coral reefs, mangroves, and even how the Florida Keys were formed. Downstairs, you'll also find a beautiful compass rose mosaic. And right outside, along the waterfront, there's a peaceful little boardwalk trail called the Conway Point Jetty Trail. It's only about a half-mile round trip, so it's super easy and perfect if you're just looking for a relaxing nature walk.
On a clear day, you can see Miami. Miami Beach, Key Biscayne, and other communities from this point. We see Miami skyline way out there in the distance. What kind of funny looking manatee is that?
After exploring the waters of Biscayne, we made our way over to the legendary Everglades National Park, which is just about a 35-minute drive from the Biscayne Visitor Center. The Everglades National Park is a UNESCO World Heritage Site and the largest subtropical wilderness in the United States, covering over 1.5 million acres in South Florida. Often called the River of Grass, the park is a vast, slow-moving sheet of water that flows from Lake Okeechobee all the way down to the Gulf. The Everglades supports a rich diversity of habitats, from sawgrass marshes to mangrove forest to pine rocklands and freshwater sloughs. It's the only place in the world where alligators and crocodiles coexist, and it's home to countless species of birds, fish, reptiles, and mammals, including the elusive Florida panther. The Everglades is divided into 3 main areas, each offering a unique way to experience the park's diverse landscapes. The main park road takes you from the Homestead entrance all the way down to Flamingo, passing through scenic trails, boardwalks, and wildlife-rich stops along the way. 50 miles north of the main entrance is Shark Valley, which features a 15-mile loop trail that's perfect for biking or hopping on the tram tour to spot alligators and wading birds up close. On the other side, the Gulf Coast entrance near Everglades City is your gateway to 10,000 Islands, an incredible maze of mangrove islands best explored by kayak or boat tour. The Gulf Coast Visitor Center was closed for renovations during our visit, so we didn't have it as part of our itinerary. We arrived at the Homestead entrance a little after 11 a.m. and got our photos with the Everglades National Park entrance sign.
Welcome to the Everglades National Park.
After we got our photos, we made our way just down the road to the Ernest F. Coe Visitor Center, which is the main visitor center for the park. This visitor center is named after the park's founder, who was also a passionate conservationist. This is a beautiful visitor center with tons of information and educational exhibits about the ecosystems and wildlife that makes up the Everglades.
Look, it's Florida. A little mosaic of Florida on the floor. It gives you a little key of each one of the different types of ecosystems for every different colored tile that you see here, which is really cool. So I think this is the difference between an alligator and a crocodile.
You know the difference between an alligator and a crocodile?
Yeah, because it has a U.
No.
Where?
An alligator, you always see them later. But crocodile, you won't see them for after a while.
Oh, yeah, is that right?
So this is the skeleton of the largest python ever captured in Florida. 17.62 feet.
That's crazy.
Good contribution.
That is crazy.
As well as the Seminole and Miccosukee people who originally settled here in this harsh environment. There's also a schedule for all the ranger-led programs, which include everything from paddling adventures to wet walks through the swamp. We got our usual national park souvenirs from the gift shop and grabbed our national park passport stamps. We also gave in and upgraded to the big passport book since we were already running low on space in our little one.
Panther foot.
There's also a nice overlook in the back of the center that overlooks a small pond, but we didn't see any gators out there during our visit. There's also this really nice map just outside the visitor center that has points of interest along the main park road, as well as the Tamiami Road that runs along the northern end of the park. The visitor center is actually located just outside the entrance ranger station. It does cost $20 per person or $35 per vehicle for up to 15 passengers, or you can get in with your America the Beautiful National Parks annual pass. Here is where we picked up an Everglades park map to add to our collection.
We just got our Everglades map. We're so excited. Our collection is getting bigger. And I love the fact that when you open it up, it has all these beautiful drawings of like all the animals and ecosystems of the Everglades, which is where we are. Right now we're officially here. We are in. This is the Everglades.
1.5 acres big.
1.5 acres of Everglades.
Or was it miles? It's either acres or miles.
I'm pretty sure it was Everglades.
Good job.
Yep, just in case you were wondering. This place really is in the middle of nowhere. There's nothing around us at all.
Our first stop after entering the park is one that might surprise you.
U.S. Army restricted area. Oh, use of deadly force is authorized. Warning.
Not many people know that there is a Nike missile site in the middle of the Everglades that is a preserved relic from the Cuban Missile Crisis of 1962. We made this stop a priority since it's only open during the winter season between December and late March between 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. So since we were visiting during the very end of March, we wanted to make sure we got this into our Everglades itinerary. The drive to the missile site is about 9 miles from the visitor center, and it really feels like you're driving in the middle of nowhere. The missile base consists of a small loop that you can drive. Along the way, you can stop and see 3 missile barns, a missile assembly building, a guard dog kennel, and a barracks.
Dogs are housed at each Nike Hercules missile site to provide enhanced security. Both soldiers and dogs provided 24-hour perimeter protection. The support building remains, although the kennel and agility cores are no longer present. These supersonic missiles required careful attention to detail to prevent any malfunction. The booster cluster consisted of 4 solid rocket engines and was removed prior to servicing.
They did have one of the hangars open with a full-size Nike Hercules missile on display. This Cold War era site was once a top-secret missile base established to protect against the possible air attack from the south. The missile base was in use until 1979 and remains virtually the same today. The open hangar also contained several exhibits where you can learn more about the missile base and the missiles themselves. You can see a nose cone on display, as well as rocket boosters, booster fins, missile bodies, and shipping canisters, and a transponder control set. But the star is definitely the giant Hercules missile. And don't forget to bring your National Park passport book because there is a Nike missile stamp and sticker here as well. So why do they call it Nike? No, it's not named after the shoes. Nike is actually the name of the goddess of victory from Greek mythology. The Nike name was given to the series of anti-aircraft missiles, and the type located here is the Hercules missile.
So this is the launch pad. 3 missiles could be set up on the launch pad to fire one after the other. The entire area was consumed in a fireball for a fraction of a second as the missile reached the speed of sound. 760 miles per hour as it left the launcher. Top speed was over 3.5 times. Holy smokes.
The Nike missile base was the main thing that we wanted to see today during our first day in the park. So with some extra time to spare before we head back to our hotel, we decided to do a couple of trails. Just down the road from the missile base is the Royal Palms area of the park. The Royal Palms area was actually Florida's first state park before the national park even existed. When the Everglades became a national park in 1947, Royal Palms became part of the park. There is a small visitor center and gift shop here where you can get a unique Royal Palms stamp for your collection. There are signs here warning of vultures that apparently love to eat at the rubber tires of vehicles. We didn't see any vultures during our visit in March, but they could be more active during the summer season, so just be aware of that. But what this area is really known for is their trails. The 2 most popular trails in the park are located here, the Gumbo Limbo Trail and the Anhinga Trail. We started with the Gumbo Limbo Trail. This is a short 0.4-mile paved trail loop that meanders through shaded jungle-like hardwood hammock. You'll find a ton of beautiful oak trees and gumbo limbo trees.
Even the name of this tree sounds tropical. The peeling red bark suggests severe sunburn. No wonder tourist tree is another of its many names. Central Americans call it naked Indian. It's a gumbo limbo tree.
Together, the hardwood trees form a dense canopy overhead.
First road to Flamingo. This was a road.
Oh, so this used to be a road.
This is the first road to Flamingo.
That's cool.
During the summer months, this trail is known for its tree snails, but unfortunately we didn't see them during our visit. But definitely keep an eye out for those if you're visiting during the summer.
Oh, look at that tree. That is incredible.
After exploring the Gumbo Limbo Trail, we did the Anhinga Trail, which is right next to it. The Anhinga Trail is by far the most popular trail in the park. It's a 0.8-mile round-trip boardwalk loop that winds through the Sawgrass Marsh and a freshwater slough. This trail is very popular because of its abundance of wildlife. We observed alligators basking in the sun, turtles gliding through the water, and a variety of bird species, including herons, egrets, and the trail's namesake, the Anhinga.
I found an Anhinga on the Anhinga Trail.
Is that his trail?
This is his trail. It's named after him.
If you're not familiar with Anhingas, you may recognize them as the birds you always see drying their feathers off after they go for a swim. The Anhingas are often called the snake bird due to its long, slender neck, and it's fascinating to watch them as they dive underwater to catch fish.
Gator number 2. Oh, I don't know why that reminds me of my dog Angel Bear, but it does. Looks like an angel bear sleeping on the couch, but it is very beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
It goes right through the wetlands. So we're in dry season now, so there's quite a few spots where you look over and there's not any water. So apparently in the summer this is all water here. But look at how beautiful this whole walk is. It's just gorgeous.
There are a few overlooks with breathtaking views of the Taylor Slough.
Slough. Oh, I've been pronouncing that wrong this entire time.
Both the Gumbo Limbo and Anhinga Trail are wheelchair accessible, and was actually recognized as one of the 10 best accessible trails by National Geographic. There's not much shade along the Anhinga Trail, so be sure to bring along sunscreen and bug spray. On day 3, we woke up at 5 a.m. to get an early start on our day. Our plan today is to drive all the way down to Flamingo, where we have a backcountry boat tour scheduled at 9 a.m. After that, we're going to drive the rest of the main road and do some of the hiking trails along the way. The drive down to Flamingo is 38 miles from the main visitor center. In Flamingo is a marina as well as a brand new lodge and restaurant that just opened. The visitor center here is the Guy Bradley Visitor Center, named after the game warden who protected the area's wading birds from poachers. Bradley was shot and killed in the line of duty after confronting a man and his 2 sons who were hunting egrets in the Everglades. There are some really fun exhibits here as well that you can learn about some of the most popular animals in the park.
Oh look, you even have like a perspective of what a kayak looks like under the water. How fun.
You can learn about manatees, American crocodiles, and the great tarpon. Make sure to walk out onto the breezeway, which has some really great views of the sunrise. If you're really adventurous, there's a wilderness waterway trail that runs from the Gulf Coast Visitor Center that ends here at the Flamingo Marina. It's 99 miles in total, and you'll need a permit to camp at the wilderness campsites along the way.
Southernmost mainland visitor center. Yes, we're also getting the junior rangers.
At 9 a.m., we met at the meeting spot in the marina for the backcountry boat tour. The backcountry boat tour is a 90-minute tour through the Buttonwood Canal, Coot Bay, and Tarpon Creek, and into Whitewater Bay. The tour is $35 for adults and $17.50 for kids ages 5 to 12. Right away, we saw this beautiful osprey nest with some baby chicks inside.
We see how large this nest is. And this nest, believe it or not, is well over 10 years. So it's quite long-lived. And each year they're going to return to that same nest, building upon it, making it grow larger in size each year.
Along the way, a naturalist will highlight unique plants and animals that are found here.
If you look here to about 11 o'clock, we're going to come across what I call to be the perfect red mangrove. And this one's actually quite famous, making itself known in National Geographic. And so they say on average, these trees will live from 50 to 60 years. But since this one's got itself to this impressive size, I'd say it's well over 100 years. A little bit on Coot Bay. It's about a mile long, 3/4 of a mile wide, with depths of only 3 to 4 feet deep. And here at our 11 o'clock, we do have a bird on this post. It's going to be a small bird similar to a seagull with a bright orange beak. This is going to be known as a royal tern. And we actually nicknamed this one. We call him Post Alone. And that's because he's always on that post alone. That's a red-shouldered hawk, I think I've seen. Alright, so now's another thing I wanted to mention. When they get flared up, they reveal their little mohawks. That kind of reminds me of Afro.
Whitewater Bay is the second largest body of water in Florida behind only Lake Okeechobee, and it's not uncommon to see manatees or even dolphins here. And while we didn't see any alligators on the tour, we did see this massive crocodile hanging out back at the marina. We just finished with the backcountry boat tour and it was really great. The tour guide was incredibly informative and we were able to tour like some of the rivers and lakes that we were actually planning on kayaking down. So now since we've done the tour, I don't think that there's really a new point for us to kayak at that trail anymore, because we basically have seen so much more than we would have ever been able to get to if we were kayaking. So we are now on the Guy Bradley Trail, which is right outside of the visitor center here in Flamingo. It's only a half-mile trail there and back. Looks like it goes right next to the water. And then you also get to check out the new hotel that they almost have finished, or probably just finished, here in Flamingo that you can stay in. So if we ever return, we might have to stay there. By joining us on the trail. Oh, wow. Are those woodpeckers? Those look like woodpeckers. Look at this little opening so that you can go to, like, walk up to the waterfront. Ooh. It's beautiful. So we just made it to the end of the Guy Bradley Trail, and it ends at this amphitheater right here, which looks like a really nice spot to just kind of relax and enjoy the view. The trail is a nice, easy hike along the water's edge, and you can get some really nice views by the bay. After our hike, we got back in the car and headed to our next trail, the Snake Bite Trail. This is an out and back trail that is 3.6 miles in total. The trail runs alongside a canal that was dredged by the railroad tycoon Henry Flagler in a failed attempt to drain the Everglades.
How we doing?
Whew, it is getting hot. I'm gonna tell you right now, it is, the sun is like beaming down on us, and this is March, so I can't even imagine people doing this hike in the middle of summer when it's like humid and hot at the same time. It's only like 80 degrees right now. Stole Noah's hat. Stole Noah's hat.
Hat thief.
At the end of the trail is a short boardwalk with an overlook that's supposed to be excellent for bird watching.
The end of the trail.
Whew.
And it is not high tide.
Not high tide at all.
It's very dry.
It's very pretty. I'm sure it'd be prettier if it was high tide.
How would you rate this trail?
I would say a 3 out of 10. Even though they say it's not maintained, it's nicely maintained. There's a nice like prize at the end of the trail. I just, I wish there was more things to be able to see. It's kind of like once you've walked maybe 5-10 minutes of it, it's basically the same thing for about 45 minutes.
Probably worth skipping.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's really pretty at the end, but is it worth the 45-minute walk to get to it? Yeah, you could probably just drive down to Flamingo and do the little trail in Flamingo and get just about as pretty of a view without having to hike through the Florida heat. So I would say this is a skip.
After the hike, we actually had to drive back to Flamingo to refill our water bottle, and we grabbed some Gatorades at the marina store to rehydrate. So if you do any of these trails, make sure to bring a lot of water, because even in March, it can get really hot during the day. After a short AC and a water break, we made our way over to the West Lake Trail. The West Lake Boardwalk wanders through a forest of white, black, and red mangrove trees all the way to the edge of West Lake.
Well, so far this is a lot prettier walk than Snake Bite Trail.
We just started.
I know. I mean, so far it's a lot prettier. It's a pretty trail so far.
This hike is super short and easy, with a great payoff of a beautiful lake view at the end. Next, we made a quick stop at Paratus Pond, which is a rookery for many wading birds during nesting season.
I couldn't take the sun anymore, so I had to go pick up a hat at the gift shop when we made our last stop. So check out my new Florida Everglades hat. We had to circle back to Flamingo to do a little bit of refueling. So we grabbed a couple of Gatorades and filled up our water bottle and grabbed this hat and a couple of ice creams to cool us down after snake bite. And so now we're at the Mahogany Hammock Trail, which seems to be open today. It's a really short trail. It's less than a half mile. It's 0.4 miles long. So it's about the same distance as the West Lake Trail, and looks like it's all boardwalk. So it should be a really pretty walk, but let's go check it out.
This is another easy, short, half-mile loop trail that is wheelchair accessible. The trail crosses a freshwater sawgrass river and enters a tropical hammock. A hammock is basically an island in the Everglades that is slightly higher in elevation to the area around it.
So hammock moat, a shallow moat like the one you are crossing over now, encircles most tree islands. Moats provide habitat for a variety of aquatic animals and protect hammock trees from approaching fires.
So these are like little islands in the Everglades.
Yeah, so they're like little islands. This is so cool. I love this. Okay, so this is a cool trail. This is cool. This is my kind of trail right here in the shade.
So
look at how cool.
Better than snakebite?
Yeah, look at how cool this looks. They're definitely better than snakebite.
These hammocks are usually dominated by hardwood trees. And this trail features the largest living mahogany tree in the United States.
Yeah, those gumbo limbo trees are really cool. Those are probably my favorite trees in the Everglades. They like stand out. They're so bright red compared to everything else. It makes everything else look so washed out. They like stand out against everything.
Those. Yeah, so this is better than snakebite.
This is far better than the snakebite trail. This is so much more interesting, and the trail is very well like covered, so you're walking through cool little tunnels like this. Okay, so we just finished up with the Mahogany Trail and it was beautiful. It's nice and covered. At 0.4 miles long, it's definitely one that I recommend doing. I think it's a can't miss if you're, driving through the Everglades. So now we're going to be heading over to Pahioki, I think I'm pronouncing that correctly, to see if that one is open, because on Friday that one was also closed. So we're gonna head over there and see if that one is open today as well. Yeah, it's closed. Darn, guys. Darn. Closed. They must be redoing it right now. Can't access this trail. Back to the main road. Dwarf cypress forest, elevation 4 feet. We're so high. Elevation 4 feet.
We passed by a sign marking Rock Reef Pass elevation 3 feet, as well as dwarf cypress forest elevation at 4 feet. And even though the elevation signs are funny, it does mark one of the highest points in the Everglades. And with a difference of just a few feet, it creates a whole new type of environment. Near the sign is a very short boardwalk trail that runs through a forest of dwarf cypress trees.
Yeah, that was really pretty. I liked that stop.
Finally, we made it to Pinelands Trail.
Fires and hurricanes shift them and enable these temperate islands to survive in the damp subtropical environment. Look for the charred pine bark and wind-snapped trunks.
This is a short paved trail that is 0.4 miles round trip and wheelchair accessible. This trail loops through a forest of pines, palmettos, and wildflowers.
A bunch of these like little holes. Look at these holes.
And we found these holes all along the trail.
Yeah, so they're pockets in the limestone. As plants slowly decay, they release weak acids that attack the rock to carve out these solution holes. When groundwater fills the pockets, aquatic plants colonize the oasis, and insects and frogs find sanctuary here. Look for songbirds who visit solution holes to drink and bathe. So they're solution holes.
Yeah, because they're all over this trail. Interesting.
After a full day of hiking, we rewarded ourselves with a milkshake from Robert Is Here fruit stand, or Robbie's as the locals call it. This is a very popular spot located just outside the national park. There's a ton of fruit and honey and things to buy in this market. But what they're really known for is their milkshakes. The milkshakes are $10 a piece, so it is a little pricey, and you can include up to 3 fresh fruits into your shake. We tried the papaya and strawberry.
It's really good.
Is it $10 good?
I mean, you can tell it's fresh strawberries, so I would think so. How's the papaya? I'll trade you. How's that? I like that too.
Yeah, I like this one.
Yeah.
Both of you. Both of them.
They're both really good.
There's also a small petting zoo here where you can pet some different animals.
Yeah.
He's digging.
Oh my god, look at this little golfer tortoise.
What are you doing, buddy?
Look at that pretty little gopher. Look at that.
Alright. Got all kinds of little animals in here. Go on top of the rock pile.
Yeah, look at all these iguanas.
Alright. I was eating that.
Hey.
Hey. That's not very nice.
On day 4, we got another early start to head up north to the Shark Valley area of the park.
Look at how thick the fog is this morning. It's another foggy morning in the Everglades. Can barely see past the car in front of us.
The gates open at 8:30 a.m. and we arrived a little after 8 a.m. and we're still not the first ones in line. You definitely want to arrive early because the parking lot isn't very big and this is a very popular area. If you arrive later in the day, there will most likely be a long wait to get into the park. Shark Valley is a 15-mile tram road loop with tons of wildlife, including alligators and crocodiles. But perhaps it's best known for the amazing observation tower at the end. You can take a tram ride that takes you all the way to the observation tower. Or a popular thing to do is to rent bikes, which is what we decided to do. We didn't realize that we could do reservations for the bikes, but luckily we got there early enough that they had some available.
All right, here we are, riding our bikes to the observation tower. Look, alligator!
Right off the bat, an alligator.
Yeah, alligator number 2. Right there. And hey there. Hey bird.
The trail to the tower is 7 miles and there's plenty of opportunities to stop and enjoy the wildlife. If you want to see gators in the wild, this is the place to be and there's tons out there.
Another gator, 2 gators. I want to stop. I want to say hello to the gators. 2 gators in the water.
There are some shorter trails along the route where you can stop and explore as well. We came across the Otter Cave Hammock Trail, which is a short 0.3-mile trail over a rough limestone surface. The hammock trail gives you an up-close view of the solution holes that permeate the floor of the Everglades.
They go pretty deep. See down in there, they're pretty deep.
Whoa. Yeah, you gotta watch your step or you'll fall into these holes. Whoa.
The solution holes are cavities in the limestone where small creatures such as otters, crayfish, and frogs live.
That's cool.
Right next to the road.
Wow. He's just chilling. He's just a chilling. No.
Just another one.
Oh my gosh.
Right on the side of that road there.
Right here.
Whoa. Mama's gotta be nearby somewhere. Oh, I see Mama over there. There's a ton of them. There's some over there. Yeah. There she is, right over there. Keeping an eye right on me.
At the end of the trail is the Shark Valley Observation Tower. You'll need to park your bike and walk to get to it. As you walk the spiral ramp leading up to the tower, you'll get some pretty incredible views. The tower is 70 feet tall and provides panoramic views up to 20 miles of the Everglades. The tram runs every hour, so if you do go by bike, you can pretty much have it to yourself in between trams. But once the trams arrive, it can get pretty packed.
Here comes all the tram people.
Well, that's our signal to go.
Great.
Let's go hike that little trail on the side.
Near the observation tower is a short borrow pit trail. This trail borders the borrow pit, which is where the limestone was borrowed to build the local construction before the park. The borrow pit was created during oil exploration before the park was established.
A little precarious here. Kind of dead ends here, it looks like.
Returning back is a slightly longer ride at 8 miles. We didn't see as many gators during the ride back as we did during the ride to the tower. Once we made it back to the visitor center, we got our Shark Valley passport stamp. And in this visitor center, you can learn about Florida's 2 seasons, dry season and wet season, as well as the wildlife that you can see along the trail. There is another short boardwalk trail right next to the visitor center called the Bobcat Boardwalk Trail. This is another really short 0.2-mile trail that winds through the Willowhead. This is wheelchair accessible and ends right back at the start of the tram trail. There is no shade on that trail whatsoever, so if you do plan on biking, bring plenty of water. Make sure that you have like a hat or something to be able to cover your face while you're biking through the Everglades, because there isn't a lot of shade through the entire trail, and it takes you a few hours or a couple of hours to do it. Look at this line of cars waiting to get in.
Just after noon.
This is just after, 12:47 in the afternoon, and we actually didn't turn on the camera until like halfway down the road, and we realized how long of a line this is for
to get into Shark Valley. Oh my goodness.
You can't visit the Everglades without doing an airboat ride. And just down the road from Shark Valley is the Everglades Safari Park. It does cost $47 for a 30-minute ride, and you do need to pay an entry fee into the national park if you don't have an annual pass. They do give you some earplugs, and it's a good thing that they do because these are some of the biggest airboats I've ever seen. Your airboat captain will take you on a tour of the Everglades and will stop and point out alligators, birds, and other wildlife. While the boat is going, it's way too loud for any kind of narration, but if your captain sees a gator, they'll stop the boat and talk about them for a few minutes.
This guy here is roughly, I'll say about 8 foot. Oh yeah, guys. Yeah, alligators, they can jump.
The airboat ride here also comes with an interactive wildlife show and entry into their wildlife park. The wildlife show is a quick 10-minute show where you can see some animals up close. And one of the expert handlers will get up close and personal with some massive gators.
Come here, Rocky. Turn around, Rocky. Get over here. You want a snack? They're all raised in captivity, so they have to be fed. Once they're fed, they stay in captivity. All these guys here are professionals. Wait, relax. No patience. This guy's name is Rocky Balboa. Over there we got Mr. Fat Albert. What's that, Fat Albert? You want a snack?
The wildlife park has a short nature trail, observation tower, and plenty of gators and crocodiles, including some free roaming in the park. There's a Safari Cafe restaurant here where we decided to grab a dinner and cap off our Everglades adventure. We shared the Call of the Wild platter, which comes with frog legs, catfish nuggets, gator bites, and some fries. For the next 2 nights, we got a cute Airbnb on the tiny Goodland Island. This island is in the 10,000 island area of the Everglades right outside of Marco Island. The Airbnb is located right on the water, and they even had kayaks available here to use for free for all guests. Unfortunately, we didn't get a chance to use them since our itinerary was already jam-packed.
We just made it to our cabin on Goodland Island, and I've already got a peek inside, and it looks really cute. Oh, look at this. This is so cute. This is super cute. All right, so full tour of our Goodland Island cottage here. So we have their little living room over here. There's a little dining table, full-size kitchen, which is nice. So I don't know. Oh wow, there's a lot of like tea. A lot of tea and coffee in here. Oh, there's already some like seasoning. I'm sure people left this behind. They just kept it in here. Oh, here's like dishes. There's paper plates in there as well. And then they have a coffee maker, glasses, nice. Oh, all sorts of Ziploc bags, kitchen utensils, knives, got a full-size fridge. Oh, looks like there's some honey and sugar in there. Some coffee, some chicory coffee, ooh, fancy.
Okay. And then here is a secondary bedroom. So cute. This is really cute. Really, really cute. And it looks like we have a bathroom here. Nice walk-in shower. And then we have the master in the back, which is a really good size. Kind of overlooks the cottage next door. Huge closet. It's not that we're gonna use it. But yeah, this is a really cute little cabin. I really like this. I like this a lot. And then the view right out in the water. Look at that. That's beautiful.
Let's have our coffee out there.
So we're going to be spending the next 2 days here, which I'm actually kind of excited about, to be able to be kind of out of the city and in the middle of nowhere for a while. So this is kind of a nice little change from being outside of Miami. Noah is being amazing and bringing in all of the suitcases right now. So I gotta go turn this off and go help him. All right, well, we'll see you guys later. The next day, we had a full itinerary scheduled to explore Big Cypress National Preserve. Big Cypress is located just north of the Everglades National Park and spans over 700,000 acres of swampy wilderness in South Florida. It was created as a national preserve in 1974 to protect the freshwater flow from Big Cypress down to the Everglades and 10,000 islands. Big Cypress National Preserve plays a vital role in the region's water flow and ecosystem. It was the first national preserve ever established in the U.S., created to protect both the natural environment and the traditional uses of the land like hunting, fishing, and off-road recreation. The preserve is home to an incredible range of wildlife, including alligators, black bears, wading birds, and the elusive Florida panther. Its landscapes is dominated by cypress domes, wet prairies, pinelands, and mangroves, making it a biodiverse transition zone between temperate and tropical ecosystems. We got an early start to our day and began our trip by driving towards the very popular Scenic Loop Drive. But first, we had to make a stop at the post office. But this is not just any post office. This is the smallest post office in the United States. This building was originally an irrigation pipe shed for a tomato farm. But after a fire burned down the original post office in 1953, this one was hurriedly pressed into service and has been in continuous use ever since. This post office is still in use. You can buy postcards for $1 for domestic or $2 for international shipping. Tourists and stamp collectors from all over the world seek out this post office for its famed Okeechobee postmark. Probably one of the most popular things to do in Big Cypress is to drive the Scenic Loop Road to explore some of the more remote areas of the natural preserve. While the park and main roads are beautiful, the Scenic Loop Road takes you deep into the heart of the preserve, far from the traffic and noise. It's a 24-mile gravel and dirt road that winds through cypress swamps, hammocks, and sawgrass prairies. We started on the eastern side, starting at 40 Mile Bend, named after the bend in the Tamiami Trail, which is about 40 miles from Miami.
Lots and lots of houses.
The first couple of miles of the road are still residential and home to several members of the Miccosukee tribe of Indians of Florida. People have inhabited this region for over 2,000 years, and the very first to do so were the Native Indians.
Yeah, it looks like we just passed up all the houses, so this might be where the scenic drive starts.
Alligator safety.
Alligator safety. Yep.
Don't feed or harass alligators.
Wow, look at this. This is awesome. Yeah, we have a lot of cypress trees over here, but since we're here during the dry season. It doesn't look like a lot of water in these areas just yet. They all look very dry. It does look like something in the road.
Birds.
Is it birds? Look at these silly birds.
Wait, stop right here. We're gonna mug you. So hold up. Vultures.
Oh, vultures.
Here's mine. You can't see it. Nope, nope. I'm gonna block it with my wings. Get out of here, vultures. Get out of here.
Ooh, look at that.
You wanna stop here?
Yeah, sure. I mean, looks like we're the only ones here.
Gator.
Oh, it's like an old gas
Do
station.
not feed the rednecks.
Do not feed the rednecks. Okay. It looks like some people live out here.
Bigfoot area.
That's funny.
We later found out that this 1.5-mile stretch of road is all that remains of the town of Pinecrest. It is here that some say Al Capone had a home, hotel, and brothel. The town of Pinecrest once had a population of nearly 400 at its peak in the 1930s. Just past Pinecrest is the Tree Snail Hammock Trail and an education center here that is run by the Everglades National Park for educational groups with reservations. There's also a map of Big Cypress here where you can get some park information. We decided to stretch our legs and do the Tree Snail Hammock, which is a short 0.3-mile trail through the hardwood hammock. As we learned during our time in the Everglades, a hammock is an island of trees in the middle of the Everglades River of Grass. This trail is known for the endemic tree snails that can be found here. Although we didn't see any during our visit, if you come here during the wet season, they should be easier to find. Big Cypress is also prime panther country. Nearly half of the remaining Florida panthers make their home here in Big Cypress. However, they are so rare that very few people ever get a chance to see them out in the wild.
I don't think a panther will answer to that, baby.
Have you tried? Do you know?
Yeah, you think panthers in there?
Just past the Tree Snail Hammock Trail is where the drive turns into a dirt road. The loop road has a lot of these culvert crossings to allow for more natural flow of the water southwards, which is vital for the Everglades. These culverts offer a great opportunity to stop and watch for wildlife. They also provide plenty of great views of the big knee cypress trees, which is what the area is famous for.
It's really pretty. Again, during the dry season, no water on the ground. We are visiting in March, so there's a little bit of pros and cons. So pros, weather is beautiful. Not as many bugs, but whenever you're visiting the cypress trees, I'm sure all of this ground is probably covered in water during the wet season in the summer. And this is probably just absolutely gorgeous with the water and the reflections of the cypress trees, but that is a little bit of a give and take. Still a gorgeous sight. I love all the air plants that are growing off of these cypress trees. It's just beautiful.
The halfway point of the drive is marked with a big sign. I guess that means we're officially in the middle of nowhere. Each culvert stop that we came across was even more beautiful than the one before, and I just love how quiet and peaceful it is here. Further down the road, we came across some deeper cypress strands. These are the areas where elevation drops so more water is able to pool here even during the dry season. These strands support larger trees, and you can see more cypress knees projecting upwards from the roots. These cypress knees serve to lock together the roots of various trees, forming a single mat, which is much more resilient to hurricane force winds.
Oh yeah, that is definitely a snake skin. That's a big old snake. Has to be around here somewhere. We cluster of fish. Gator right there, sunbathing. It's actually a couple of gators here.
Near the end of the loop is the Gator Hook Trail. There's also a small picnic area here with some pit toilets and garbage bins. The trail itself is a 5-mile out and back trail, and during the wet season, this would entirely be a wet walk through the swamp. This trail runs east along one of the historic tram roads that was originally built by the loggers using small trains to transport cypress trees out of the swamp. Some of the original cypress logs laid down for the tram rails can still be seen. One thing that we've come to learn about hiking in Florida is that the hiking here is more about the journey than the destination. There's no majestic mountain views or grand vistas here. It's all about being in nature and observing the wildlife. So you shouldn't feel the pressure of fully walking every trail because there's nothing at the end that you can't see elsewhere along the trail. So we ended up hiking about a half-mile of the trail before turning around and heading back.
So what would you rank that trail?
We only walked maybe a half-mile of it, but that was super cool. I would probably make that a 4 out of 5.
4 out of 5. Ooh.
Yeah.
Why'd you give it that ranking?
Yeah, because there's a lot of like variety there. So you go through a few different ecosystems, and like you first are walking through like these cypress trees, and then you go into this prairie, and then you come across like the old logs, like the old tram logs, and then after that you go across like this old limestone. So it's something like every few feet that's something different, and I think that that's really cool. So if you're in Big Cypress, it's definitely worth going.
After completing the loop road, we made our way over to the Oasis Visitor Center. Here we got our souvenirs, maps, and National Parks passport stamps for our collections. And here you can learn about the fascinating history of gator wrestling from the Seminole tribe in Florida. Tourists would see alligator hunters capturing and tying up alligators. Eventually, it turned into a spectator event to showcase their daring maneuvers. Outside is a nice boardwalk where you can see some enormous gators.
Here's your welcoming committee. Here's the big one.
The Oasis Visitor Center also marks the southern terminus of the Florida National Scenic Trail. The Florida Scenic Trail stretches 1,400 miles across Florida all the way up to Pensacola. These orange blazes along the trail signs help with navigating the trail from end to end. There are a total of 11 national scenic trails that were established by Congress to provide access to spectacular natural beauty and to be able to allow pursuit of healthy and outdoor recreation.
This helicopter working danger sign. And the U helicopter. Be careful.
We decided to walk a very short bit of the trail while we were here, just to say that we've done part of it before heading out to our next destination.
I walked to the end of the trail.
Good job. It's quite the accomplishment.
Next, we came to the Kirby Storter Roadside Park, but we soon discovered that the boardwalk is closed after only 0.3 miles.
The end of the trail. Oh.
There is no boardwalk after 0.3 miles.
Next, we drove over to the H.P. Williams Roadside Park, which offers restrooms, picnic tables, and another boardwalk where you can view alligators.
There's a little one coming up towards us.
Due to the constant presence of water in this canal, this is the perfect location to see wildlife. We also caught sight of the snake poking its head out of the rocks. Someone nearby said it was a cottonmouth. H.P. Williams Park is also the entrance to another scenic drive. This drive follows Turner River Road, Upper Wagon Wheel Road, and Burden Road, forming a U-shape back to the main road. A series of canals run alongside the road that provides a habitat for wildlife, especially during the dry season when the water is scarce.
And it is the bumpiest road. It almost feels like our Jeep is gonna fall apart, but we're going slow. So on this scenic drive, you drive right next to this river, which we haven't been able to see too much of because of all of the bushes that are in the way. And every once in a while, you get to see like little alligators or white ibis. I think I have to say that I like the other scenic drive better. I mean, it's pretty because it has like all these beautiful prairies that you can drive by, but if you don't have like really good suspension, it almost sounds like your vehicle's gonna like fall apart the entire time. And then anytime that you're passing by someone else, they just kick up like all of this dust, and then all you see is like white for like a couple of seconds until it clears out. We did see like a few birds, a ton of anhingas, a lot of white ibis, a ton of alligators. I definitely think that the other drive is worth it a lot more than this one. So if you only have time for like one or the other, I think the Loop Road Scenic Drive is worth it. This one, I mean, if you have time and you're just looking for other things to do, you know, might as well just add it into your drive. But I'm actually at a point now where I'm ready to go see the next thing.
After our second scenic drive of the day, we made our way over to the Skunk Ape Research Headquarters. The legend of the skunk ape is often synonymous with Sasquatch or Bigfoot. And what better place for the creature to hide than the Florida Everglades? The headquarters also serves as the campground office, gift shop, and a small reptile exhibit, which does cost $10 to see. Inside, you'll see a variety of turtles, snakes, and gators. This was also the home of Goldie, the reticulated python who passed away of old age after living an impressive 30 years.
Here in Skunk Ape Country. Oh look! Well, he has to exist. We have a cast of his feet right here. I mean...
That's all the proof I need.
Next, we headed just down the road to the Nathaniel Reed Visitor Center. At this visitor center, you can see informational displays about the history of Big Cypress and the people who lived in the swamp. You can also learn about gator nest as well as the legendary Florida panther number 150, who scientists have tracked all across the park. You can also get some souvenirs and a unique park stamp here. Around the back is another boardwalk next to the water where you can see alligators and mangrove trees. And the park ranger inside said that you can also spot manatees here if you're lucky. Finally, we ended our tour of Big Cypress with a photo in front of the entrance sign located in Carnstown. After Big Cypress, we headed over to the Jane's Scenic Road, which is another scenic drive that is a part of the Fakahatchee Strand State Park.
All right, y'all, so we just made it to the Jane's Road Scenic Drive, which is an out and back scenic drive. So the ranger at the visitor center told us about this one. She said that there was a lot of potholes, that she biked up here, and to be careful. I mean, so far it looks paved, which is, oh, we haven't entered it yet. Oh, okay, so it's just in this direction.
Right around this little hairpin turn.
Got it, okay.
So it's in a state park. It's technically outside of Big Cypress.
Yeah, so it's 6 miles out and back. Fakahatchee.
Hey, watch your mouth.
Fakahatchee Strand Preserve State Park. Welcome to the real Florida for your enjoyment and protection. So this road definitely isn't as bumpy as the last scenic drive that we were on. And you can also see prairies on it. Lots of Florida prairies. So if you don't want to take on the bumpiness of the last road, this is not quite as bumpy, and the scenery is relatively about the same. Look at all these beautiful cypress trees you drive under. It's so pretty. Not a lot of animals though, but then again it's in the afternoon, so all the animals have probably all gone into the forest to go find some shade. Yeah, very bumpy road. Bumpy in a different way from the last road. Like the last, yeah, these are potholes.
This is a very bumpy 11-mile unpaved road that winds its way to the park's remote tram trails. There are 2 tram trails to explore. First, you'll come to the West Main Tram Trail. This takes you 2 miles out through the Strand Swamp before opening up to a beautiful prairie.
Is that every time I try to look ahead, there's another pothole we gotta avoid, so I can't look anywhere except right in front of the car to not get in these potholes that are everywhere.
Yeah, there's a lot of potholes on this road. It's almost like impossible to enjoy, like looking off to the side, or because you're always just bracing for the next pothole.
At the very end of the scenic drive is the start of the other tram trail, the East Tram Trail. This trail runs through the heart of the Fakahatchee Strand, and the popular thing to do here is to hike about 2 miles to the remote cabin known as the Fakahatchee Hilton.
Huh? Pretty?
How's the view from up there?
Basically the same as down there, but about 4 feet higher.
After the scenic drive, we made our way over to Big Cypress Bend Boardwalk, which is also a part of the Fakahatchee Strand State Park. This area has a pavilion with rocking chairs that overlook the prairies.
So this is a strand swamp, which is a long, narrow swamp.
There's also a 1/4-mile boardwalk that leads to the shell path around Green Heron Lake. It does cost a $3 fee per vehicle for entry that you can pay by scanning the QR code on the side.
It's our last day on Goodland Island, and we're just checking out of our adorable Airbnb here, and I'm going to miss waking up to this
incredible view that we have behind us. This is a really cute cabin, so if you are staying wanting to visit the Everglades or Big Cypress National Preserve, then I highly recommend this. It is independently owned. She's on Airbnb, and I'll leave a link to the cabin that we're actually staying in the description below, so if you do want to check it out. We're going to be heading out to Sanibel Island for the next couple of days, so we're checking out of our Airbnb now and heading up to Sanibel. I really loved staying on Goodland Island. We were kind of going back and forth on if we should stay on Marco Island or somewhere closer. So Goodland Island is actually a little bit closer to Big Cypress National Preserve, so it actually ended up being better for us, and it's a really beautiful, peaceful island that basically all you hear is like boats and birds, and so it's a really peaceful place to stay. We really enjoyed staying in this cabin. So if you have any questions, let me know down in the comments below. On day 6, we made our way towards our final destination on this trip, Sanibel Island, which is about an hour-and-a-half drive from our Airbnb on Goodland Island. Sanibel is packed with coastal charm, wildlife, and some of the best shelling beaches in the world. Sanibel Island is located just off the southwest coast of Florida near Fort Myers. It's connected to the mainland by a scenic causeway and is known for its laid-back vibe and incredible natural beauty. Best known for its world-class shelling, white sand beaches, and untouched natural beauty. With no high-rises, no traffic lights, and miles of scenic bike trails, the island offers a peaceful escape that feels like stepping back in time. We arrived on the island just after noon and headed straight to our first stop, Ding Darling Wildlife Refuge. The Ding Darling Wildlife Refuge is part of the largest undeveloped mangrove ecosystem in the United States and is world famous for spectacular migratory bird populations. The J.N. Ding Darling National Wildlife Refuge came into existence in 1945 as the Sanibel National Wildlife Refuge to preserve and protect migratory bird habitats. J. Norwood Ding Darling is a well-known conservationist and a political cartoonist from 1900 to 1949 and was instrumental in creating the refuge. We began our trip at the Education Center. During our visit, the exhibits were still closed due to the hurricane restoration projects, but you can still get park information, brochures, and visit the gift shop. And fun fact, they were also voted as America's Best Bathroom in 2018 for their artistic and educational exhibit that introduces visitors to the refuge wildlife and habitat in a fun way as you approach and use the bathrooms. After picking up our maps and souvenirs and visiting the Learning Loos, we made our way over to the Wildlife Drive. There are several ways to explore this park. You can drive, hike, bicycle, or even take the tram tour of the Wildlife Drive. The Wildlife Drive is open every day except Fridays. It is closed on Fridays to give the wildlife a little bit of break from the traffic. Cost to enter the Wildlife Drive is just $10 per vehicle and $1 per bike or pedestrian. Children 15 and under are free. So what we found out that it is $10 to enter the Wildlife Drive, but if you have a America the Beautiful National Park Pass like we do, you can actually use that for your entrance fee into the Wildlife Drive. Yes, one of these. So if you have one of these, that will take care of your entrance fee into the Wildlife Drive. So we are excited. We just got this like in March and it's already paying for itself. Definitely worth it if you do go and see a lot of national parks. But let's head in. But before we got too far, we came across the first trail that starts right next to the entrance booth. Just at the entrance fee, like little booth here, there's actually a trail that leads to an observation stand, or an observation tower that is at the end of this. The Indigo Trail is a 4-mile out and back trail but just a quarter mile down the trail is an educational boardwalk with a 2-story observation pavilion. Since this is an educational boardwalk, you can learn about different wildlife, scat, and tracks as you explore. The observation tower provides a great view of the freshwater area where alligators and nesting birds live. And there are signs here to help you identify the different birds of the refuge. But we caught sight of another animal hanging out in the trees.
That was a cool observation point. We got to see an iguana that was hanging out over by the water. So now it's time to go and check out the rest of the wildlife drive.
Along the drive, you'll see birds living in the mangrove estuary depending on the season and the tide. In the winter, like January and February, you'll see the most birds, as well as during the spring and fall migrations. During the summer, you'll see year-round resident birds such as herons, egrets, osprey, pelicans, roseate spoonbills, cormorants, and anhingas. No matter what time of year, birding is always best at low tide because the water level is low enough for the birds to feed.
So we are here at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, so it's probably not the best time to be doing this wildlife drive because most of the animals are probably someplace cooler right now than, you know, hanging out in the heat of the sun. So I'm sure that this is probably a lot prettier in the morning time when we're only a mile in, so maybe we'll see some more.
The wildlife drive is 4 miles long and hard paved and is one way only. The speed limit is 15 miles per hour. It takes about 2 hours if you're like us and make frequent stops along the way. There are fishing stations along the way if you do want to fish, and also a couple spots to launch kayaks. At about the halfway point is another observation tower overlooking the main bird feeding area. Of course, we had to stop and climb the tower. We saw all kinds of fish and birds in this area. It is a great spot to stop and observe all of the amazing wildlife.
Where's he going?
Oh, hi. Beautiful.
Wow.
Beautiful.
Where's he going?
He's just showing off. That's what he's doing.
The refuge provides important wetland, mangrove, marsh, and upland habitat for approximately 250 species of birds, 51 species of reptiles and amphibians, and 32 species of mammals. If you do want to do the tram tour, they are about an hour and a half long and cost $18 per adult and $10 per child, and can be booked online through Tarpon Bay Explorers. After the observation tower, we came to Collins Point, which tells the story of how the wildlife drive came to be.
The salt marsh mosquito. Ever wonder how the wildlife drive came to be? You can thank mosquitoes. Their solution was to use drag lines to create drainage ditches. I guess a lot of this is man-made then. All these ditches and everything that you see here were all created.
Near the end of the drive is the Wolford Keys Trail. This is a short quarter-mile trail to the edge of the bay where you can fish or watch wildlife. After exploring Ding Darling, we made a quick ice cream stop at the Magic Bus, which just so happened to be right next to our Airbnb. For the next 2 nights, we'll be staying at the Parrot's Nest in the Parakeet Cabin.
6 or 8.
All right, we got a cute little Airbnb. Looks like it's overlooking kind of like a common area over here. And then we have a bathroom. Nice newly renovated bathroom.
Yeah, it's not as nice as the last place.
Not as nice as our last one, but it still has like a, this is cute, it has a full-size kitchen. Has like granite countertops. Yeah. It's not as big as our last one was, but still. Alright, so I think these are the bikes that we're able to borrow while we're here on the island.
They do have bicycles available to borrow that come included with your stay. We didn't end up using them because everything we wanted to do was either a short walking distance away or all the way on the other side of the island. Plus, you're not allowed to take them on the beach, so it didn't really make much sense for us to use them. There's a variety of beach gear here available to use, including the beach carts and toys for playing in the sand, as well as a laundry room here available for use between 5 p.m. and 10 p.m. and a shell cleaning station here to clean off your shell haul.
Yeah, I'm excited. I hope I find some sand dollars. Those are my favorites. Maybe even like this these little baby conch shell are so cute. I might take this one actually. Nobody claims it. I might take that one home because that's cute.
After getting settled into our cabin, we decided to walk over to the lighthouse, which is less than a mile walk away. The Sanibel Island Lighthouse was built in 1884. The light is 98 feet above sea level and sits atop an iron skeleton tower. However, in 2022, Sanibel was devastated by Hurricane Ian and severely damaged the station. Both the keepers' houses and all of the surrounding buildings were completely destroyed. The tower itself lost one leg but still remained standing. After seeing the lighthouse, we walked the beach back towards our cabin, collecting shells along the way. Sanibel is world famous for its amazing shell beaches, and it is widely known as the seashell capital of the world. This reputation is due to the island's unique geography, which allows a high concentration of diverse and well-preserved seashells to wash ashore. The gentle surf and a relatively shallow offshore shelf contributes to the abundance and pristine condition of the shells found on the island's beaches.
Oh my god, look! I found a whole conch shell! I found a whole conch shell! I've never seen so many shells on a beach before. So many shells. I feel like we're in a Pixar film right now.
Here you coming a mile away.
Oh, stop making fun of my shells.
We finished off our first day with dinner at Doc Ford's Rum Bar and Grilled. We enjoyed the fried calamari, oysters on the half shell, and Noah got the redfish bowl while I got the Yucatan shrimp. And it was a delicious end to our day. Good morning! It is officially sunrise here in Sanibel Island, and we are at Blind Pass Beach. We came here this early because it is low tide, so this is one of the best times to be able to find shells. So we're going to head out over to the seashore and see if we can find any.
Oh my goodness. Look at all these shells. Is this a full conch shell? Look at this conch shell. Look at that. It's perfect. Another one. Here's another one that's also perfect. I've already found 2 full conch shells, 2 full ones. I just got out here. Look at that.
You're just happy as a clam.
Yeah. Ooh, this one's like perfect. Look at that.
Oh, there's a
There's another conch shell. Wow, that's
that
perfect.
just washed up.
Look at that. shells wash up on the beach here? That is the question.
Wow, look at all those seashells.
Look at all those seashells. Oh my god, I'm having so much fun. Like, I'm getting shells all in my flip-flops. But you know what? It's worth it. It's worth it. Ah, god, I have seashells all in my flip-flops. See? That is what I'm walking in right there. All of these seashells just cutting the bottom of my feet.
The Women's Beach. So this one must not be as popular in the morning as the other one. And there's tons of parking.
Tons of parking. Look at these beautiful mangroves. This is beautiful.
Yeah, it's a pretty little beach. Shells.
More shells. Look at
And it's begun.
I don't see so many conch shells on this beach as we did on the other one.
I think the other one was the hot spot. Oh, geez.
And that's not all of them either. No, there's more. These are just the ones that we got from the blind pass. After spending the morning enjoying a couple of Sanibel's amazing beaches, we decided to escape the heat by visiting the Bailey Matthews National Shell Museum and Aquarium. The admission is $12 for adults, $10 for seniors and veterans, $8 for youth ages 12 to 17, $7 for children 5 to 11, and free for kids under 5 and active military. On the first floor is the living gallery of aquariums and marine life. This exhibit first opened in 2020 and is where you can see living mollusks and other marine animals. There are tons of aquariums and a couple of interactive touch pools with approximately 60 species of animals. Mollusks are the star of the show here, and you can learn all about their shells, anatomy, and how they grow and develop.
Okay, so this sign says, please touch. So I'm going to touch. Whoa, is this real? Wow.
Mexico and parts of tropical western Atlantic Ocean.
The snail constantly polishes the glossy shield around the shell opening. Wow. That's cool. I can't believe that's real.
It's a real shell.
That's insane.
On the second floor are the special exhibitions and the Great Hall of Shells. During our visit was an exhibit about shells in fashion with a fascinating look into how shells have been used in fashion dating all the way back to the ancient cultures. There was also an exhibit showcasing the amazing abalone shells, which have a diversity of color, pattern, and visual impact that is matched by very few others. Their iridescent quality is prized for jewelry, decorations, and mother of pearl. Another exhibit features the stunning photography of Amy Tripp, who has a gift for finding and photographing some amazing mollusks.
You would have been underwater. So that's what destroyed the Great Shell Hall exhibit.
I'm 5'5", so
The Great Hall of Shells was unfortunately badly damaged during Hurricane Ian and was still being reinstalled during our visit. The newly renovated Great Hall of Shells is scheduled to reopen in summer of 2025 and will feature approximately 3,000 specimens including world record size shells, deep sea species, land snails, and ancient fossils.
So we just finished at the Shell Museum and it was such a fun experience. It was a lot of different shells. Unfortunately, the Great Hall of Shells was taken out by Hurricane Ian, and so they're still in the process of rebuilding it. They did tell us that it's going to be open this summer, hopefully. So if you are going to be visiting in the summer, then you have a chance of possibly seeing it open. So if you do go this summer, let me know down in the comments below and let me know how it turns out. It looks like it's going to be incredible, but it's a great little place to go and learn about the seashells that you're picking up on the beach while you're here. So I picked up one of these shell identification cards from the Shell Museum so I can identify the shells that I picked up. Look at how awesome this is, and I love that it's laminated so you could take it on the beach with you if you want to know what kind of shells you picked up. I think it was like $8 for this, which is a little pricey, but it's an awesome like laminated little guide. It's perfect to take to the beach with you. I think it was worth it. Maybe that is this here?
Maybe.
A minor jackknife? Yeah, there you go. That's almost an exact replica.
After the museum, we relax in our cottage for a few hours until 6 o'clock, which is when low tide is scheduled to happen. So we made our short walk back over to the lighthouse beach to enjoy the sunset while continuing our shell treasure hunt.
Pistachio shell. Look at how low the tide is. The seaweed is where the water usually is. Crazy.
We finished the day with dinner at Mudbugs, a delicious Cajun-style restaurant with a fun Mardi Gras-inspired atmosphere.
Yeah, last dinner here in Sanibel, so excited to have some Cajun food. Look at that. Gigantic crawfish.
Lobsters.
I know.
Thank you so much for joining us on our adventure through beautiful southern Florida. We would love it if you would hit the like button and subscribe if you would love to see more adventures like this one. If you're planning your own Everglades trip, we've put together a detailed guide packed with information like 1 to 3 day itineraries, trail highlights, must-see stops, wildlife tips, and a full kid-friendly section with scavenger hunts and coloring pages for $10 on our website. If you're interested, we'll put a link to that in the description below. Also, we want to give a huge thank you to our channel members. Your support means the world to us, and it's because of you that we can continue to create amazing adventures like this one. So we're so grateful to have you along with us on our journey. If you are looking for another road trip adventure, then you might want to check out our amazing road trip through Wyoming that just popped up on the screen. In this video, I'll take you along through the legendary Yellowstone and Grand Teton National Parks, and trust me, you won't want to miss it.